Okay, so I want to be clear as the weekends, you've got the debate coming up next week, um, kind of, ending kind of a period of the election here. My analysis of the polling is that Donald Trump has not actually made up any ground at all. But the various polling firms, no doubt in complete cahoots with the media, have manipulated data to make the race appear closer than it actually is. This has been done via a decision to eliminate minorities and young people from the polling results under the argument that they're less likely to vote. This change from registered to likely voters happened across the board in September, and it does seem to be organized. Everybody did it at exactly the same time. The motive is to avoid the appearance of an uncompetitive race and the low ratings that such a scenario would bring. Have you seen some of the advertising for the debates? It's ridiculous. Okay? They're trying to play it up, get ratings up. It's all about maximizing revenue. Okay? An uncompetitive race is bad for ratings. So they're fucking with all the polling data to make it seem closer so that they can boost ratings. That's dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. But that's what they're doing. When polling results have been released this week that include the raw data, it can be seen that in fact not much has changed. I mean, there's a little bit of fluctuation in the margin, but she's still up by 5, 6, 7, 8 points. If you look at the polls that have the raw data, what's changed is the way that the information is being reported. Instead of reporting registered voters, they're reporting this different thing called likely voters after they've removed minorities and young people, which is benefiting Trump dramatically. So while I continue to believe that Clinton is very vulnerable to a terrorist attack, both on account of being a Democrat and on account of being a woman, as well as in contrast to Trump's messaging, the recent terrorist attacks did not gain the media the traction that I feared they would, and consequently do not seem to have had a polling effect. A future attack still might. I also continue to believe that Clinton's best strategy is to run on economic and otherwise fiscal issues, including the strength of the stock market. Again, if you're a pensioner, you're a boomer, you look at what happened under the Bush years to the market, why are you even thinking about going back to that? It's befuddling to me that she's not doing much better amongst older voters. I can't grasp this. She should be winning boomers by 10 points. I don't understand how she's not. I also believe that she needs to focus less on winning young voters who will likely only be swayed by marijuana legalization. Okay? It's clearly the thing. Even with the other positions that Johnson's taking that may be appealing to young people, Clinton has all those positions. Incredibly. Right? Unless, are you saying that Johnson is swinging young people because he's more pro TPP? The only thing that makes any sense is the marijuana. And I'm sorry, maybe you don't want to have such a you know such a dismissive view of young people. Maybe you think that that's unhealthy. Well, they're not helping themselves. If you don't believe me, study it. All right. At the very least, this is an important question. This is an empirical question. Go out there and tell me, why are young people voting for Gary Johnson? What is the issues-based reason? Because I don't buy this. Like I said, I don't buy this whole elite non-elite thing. No, there has to be an issue there, right? Young people are not, you know, they're not that materialistic. They're not that driven by advertising and marketing, right? There has to be some issue. And the only issue that I can see that makes any sense at all is marijuana. But if you don't like that analysis, do the study and prove me wrong. Find the reason. One way or another, you want to know the reason, okay? Because you want to adjust. But I do think she needs to focus less on winning young voters, because I do think that they're being driven almost entirely by marijuana, or the issue of marijuana. Not that they're walking around like marijuana zombies, but they're being driven by this issue. So she needs to focus less on them unless she wants to take that position, and more on winning older voters, who ironically might be just as in favor of it as, you might get just as many boomers on marijuana legalization as you get young people. But my broad takeaway going into the weekend is that Clinton is currently safe in at least 270 electoral votes. It's like 272. It's thin, you know, but she's safe in those. When I say she's safe, I mean that there's essentially no chance that she will have less than 270. She might not get much more than that, but she doesn't have to get more than that. Okay? And what that means is the current state of the election has determined the size and shape of her victory. So the safe Democratic states are like at 272 or something, and the safe Republican states are at like 175 or something. Okay? And the other, what is it, like 70 some votes, 70 some electoral votes are to determine, okay, like, does Clinton get 272 electoral votes, or does she get 295 electoral votes, or does she get 330 electoral votes? Like, that's the state of the election at this point. And I know that I'm rejecting the polling wisdom. I'm throwing away what the headlines say. I'm taking, your precious aggregates and your precious averages, and I'm throwing them in the trash. But all of these things are only as good as the polling. And the polling, I've been saying the polling sucks. It's not even, the polling is corrupt. We've reached a point in the Americans have reached a point in their democracy where even the polling companies are corrupt. That's how deep the corruption has become. Even the people that are supposed to be measuring the election are being bought off. Even the polls are bought and paid for. I'm here to provide an honest analysis, and that's what it is. You can call me names if you'd like, but that doesn't change, my reading of the situation. And I don't like it, but I think that that's what's actually going on. And we'll have to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Is the media going to continue to perpetuate the lie that this is a competitive election? Or are they at some point going to relent, pull back, and say, okay, this is what people actually want?